In 150 yards, turn left onto Harlington Road West, A312. Take the next left onto Harlington Road West, A312. Continue on A312 for half a mile.
With the gambling, and I win coins, and this, that, and the other, and that, for me, I know it's going to sound weird, and I'm probably going to sound like a little bit of a freak, but doing them gambling little games that don't cost me anything gives me the same sort of, that sounds weird, but the same sort of high of being in the bookmakers. And what other people don't understand about the bookmakers, so most men, like myself, it's a place where you can go into,
yes,
and you can shut the door, yes, behind you,
yeah,
and the only thing you're going to hear is the sirens that go past, the police, the cars, the ambulance. You're not going to hear anything else. You're not going to hear any other.
Simon, just Simon,
your own little world.
Simon, very briefly, because I want to get some other calls in. Simon,
sorry.
Did your problem affect your relationships?
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've never really sort of gambled when I've been in a relationship. I've only sort of really gambled, it's going to sound quite pathetic, but I've only sort of really gambled when I've been on my own.
Simon, thank you very much for calling in, very grateful indeed. Ed in Hounslow. Ed.
Good evening, David. Yeah, I heard this thing with the NHS refusing the assistance to give people...
In a quarter of a mile, keep left to continue on Fags Road.
Not quite psychiatric help, whatever the case.
Psychological help, yeah.
Psychological help, yeah. I think that's a very bad idea. I think it was a good thing that the gaming industry was supporting people being helped, and that's to be applauded. To take it away is ridiculous. And then you're putting a burden on the taxpayer, which doesn't...
Keep left to continue on Fags Road.
So you like the polluter pays model that was introduced by the Labour government, that, look, actually the problem comes from the industry.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Great South West Road, A30. Continue on Causeway for 3/4 of a mile.
They've got profits of 11.3 billion, so that's quite a lot of money.
So harm in giving a little bit to those who are suffering from it, yeah.
Well, it's a bit like a windfall tax, I suppose, in a sense. The problem has been that patients themselves felt that they were compromised, and there have been, you know, I've got to be honest, there have been a few scandals in Parliament, that there have been MPs funded by the gambling industry, and therefore the right scrutiny of the gambling industry has not been made. It took us years to get that slot machine changed, by the way. It's a very powerful lobbying industry, the gambling industry. And
in a quarter of a mile, sharp left onto Great South West Road, A30.
To look at the issues of how many people are in gambling, all the rest of it. So there's a line, and people have suggested that line has been too powerful.
Well, of course, you wouldn't want to subscribe to, things are not going on correctly, but like somebody's taking bribes or something like that you might be inferring there. But there wouldn't be anything wrong with quite openly giving donations to people being helped. I can't see any objection to that, and I can't see any objection from anybody.
Sharp left onto Great Southwest Road, A30.
I myself was quite a compulsive gambler when I was young. I mean, to the extent that I would go into casinos and I would be in there from the moment in those days they opened 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Continue on Great Southwest Road for 1.5 miles.
And I'd be in there throughout the whole day, and I'd be there the next day for...
In a quarter of a mile, at Wagoners Roundabout, take the first exit onto Bath Road, A4.
in the casino industry, and that cured me to quite a large extent from the addiction that I had allowed myself to be drawn into, you know.
Interesting that was what fixed you. Ed, thank you very much for calling in. For support for anyone affected by a gambling problem across Great Britain, you can call the National Gambling Helpline 24 hours a day, free, by the way, on 0808 8020 133. That's 0808 8020 133. More of your calls about your experience with gambling after the news. It's 6:31, and here's the news with Simon Morgan.
Boris Johnson has warned of grim omens from Russia and said an invasion of Ukraine would send shock around the world. Speaking earlier at the Munich Security Conference, the Prime Minister said violence from Moscow against Ukraine will truly test NATO, but stopped short of saying alliance forces should directly intervene. The president of Ukraine's called Kiev's fired shells across the border silly. Volodymyr Zelensky insists his people will protect their country with or without support from Western allies. And a Motorway agent who was a close associate of Jeffrey Epstein has been found dead in...
Continue on the Parkway for 1 mile.
76 was being held as part of an inquiry into allegations of rape, sexual assault and trafficking. The weather tonight, hailstorm on higher ground in Scotland, rain spreading eastwards across Wales and into northwestern areas of England. Elsewhere cloudy with strong winds developing by dawn, lows of 0 in northeastern Scotland to 9 degrees in southern England.
LBC. Turn everyday business purchases into the trip of a lifetime with the British Airways American Express Accelerating Business Card. You'll earn 1.5 Avios for every £1 you spend, and for a limited time you'll receive 45,000 Avios when you spend £5,000 in the first 3 months of card membership. Apply today and check out the world.
Representative 96.7% APR variable. 18 plus UK residents only, subject to approval. Offer valid between 18th of January and 28th of February 2022. Terms apply.
We all have a fire inside us. It gives us energy and spirit to do the things we love. Every morning we get to feed that fire and set ourselves up for the day with a warming and satisfying bowl of Quaker oats. Because when we feed it right, when it's fully ablaze, we can take on anything the day might bring. Feed more than just your body. Feed the fire inside.
24 years. Social responsibilities didn't exist in the industry when I started. I've always believed in safer gambling, and there's a lot of us in the industry who do care. Brian in Scunthorpe. Brian.
Right, David, firstly, thank you for taking my call. I'm a big fan of yours. I really would love to, go for a coffee with you.
In 200 yards, at Cranford Parkway interchange, take the second exit onto the M4 slip road to Heathrow Airport, M25.
Synopsise it as much as I can. Back in around 2010, I went through a really bad divorce. Then a couple of years later, I met this girl, and I thought I had won the lottery. She was not only beautiful, she was calm, considerate, and she was everything that you would want in a woman. We dated, we got to know each other, but there was a couple of things that just did not add up. And I found out that she was a gambling addict.
How long before you found that out?
I reckon, so we started dating about 2012, probably about 2014-ish. And that's when I drew, I drew the dots and connected the dots, if that makes any sort of sense to everybody. Anyhow, in that time between 2012 and 14, we've been to casinos together, and I have to be honest with you, I don't gamble apart from the lottery once every so often. That's all I would do. Maybe the national, the Grand National.
You sound like me.
Yeah, okay, so very, I remember...
Exit the roundabout onto the slip road.
Jewish friend of mine.
In a quarter of a mile, merge onto M4.
Don't take video revenge, just teach him how to gamble, and the revenge will be sweet enough. And the first saying sticking in my head, and what he said to me, just remember,
Tell me, you discovered that your girlfriend was an addict. And how bad was her problem, and how did you discover it? What kind of gambling was she doing?
So I would notice that she would always be skipped. She would really have, despite being in a relatively decent job, earning above the average.
Continue on M4 for 3 miles.
She wouldn't have enough money to see through the month. And then I started discovering things which just did not make sense in terms of the timings. There was no need for her to have a second phone, for example. I understand there are certain people, even myself, I have a business phone and I have a personal mobile, which is, but I can explain that in terms of, well...
She couldn't explain hers.
Yeah,
And what was she doing on that second phone? Gambling?
So I've never discussed this with anybody else apart from my best friend, but she was selling herself. So basically she was basically working as an escort.
Was that to fund the gambling habit?
Yes.
Oh dear. And that's a very acute gambling habit.
I remember going to her to a casino. I remember in sort of our first, I'm sitting there in this casino, they'll give you free drinks, so I had a couple of scotches, and she was like $3,000 up. And I'm like, right, you're $3,000 up, that sounds like a good day. I think this is time to stop. And it didn't hit home.
It's this point about not stopping, isn't it? It's always that. It's that you can't stop.
Yeah, so if I was $3,000 up,
quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4. Keep right to stay on M4. Continue on M4 for 2 miles.
until they don't have a penny left. And let's start with what this industry is. It's not gambling industry. Betting shops are sports and leisure. You know, you're giving a commodity which is not tangible, which you can't feel. And
in a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
Envy or revenge, you know, I want my money back. If you win and you go back years and years, oh, I've lost more than this, you don't stop. You win, you get excited, you come back. And the problem with that is when these people discuss their episode with their fellow gamblers,
keep right to stay on M4.
Because it's a matter of prestige. Otherwise, they feel like they are the underdog, or they feel insulted that they are a loser.
I mean, Raj, it's an industry that paid your wages for a very long time.
And I left that, and I detested every single day I worked for them. And it's not like I wasn't any good at my job, but I've seen the people you socialize with, your customers. I feel sorry for them. And you're saying like they paid my. I have lived a life of paranoia all throughout. I'll tell you what a betting shop map's like. You come into a betting shop, and right at the end of that is the counter where the staff are. And they are supposed to be vigilant from that end. I've told my team leaders, my managers, my bosses that the counter should be right at the front where you can screen a person before they go into a betting shop. And they could like see if they are the right age and stuff. But all the betting shops will do is they'll put you out to dry. They'll kind of suspend you and fire you once you let somebody underage in, which is a very tough thing to do right from the end of it. Some of the shops are like...
Raj, I'm grateful, but I've got to go to the break. The time now is 6:46.
Coming up at 7 on LBC, Natasha Devon.
Eunice has caused an estimated £360 million worth of damage, and yet storm denial is the latest craze to sweep social media. What's going on?
Natasha Devon on LBC. Turn everyday business purchases into the trip of a lifetime with the British Airways American Express Accelerating Business Card. You'll earn 1.5 Avios for every £1 you spend, and for a limited time you'll receive 45,000 Avios when you spend £5,000 in the first 3 months of card membership. Apply today and check out the world.
Representative 96.7% APR variable. 18 plus UK residents only, subject to approval. Offer valid between 18th of January and 28th of February 2022. Terms apply.
Save pounds at the pump at Morrison's with 7p off every litre of fuel when you spend £40 or more in store until Sunday the 27th of February. So fill up your trolley and fill up your tank for less. Morrison's. Make good things happen. Coupon required. Excludes Morrison's daily and online. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See in store for details. Collect by 27th of February. Redeem by 6th of March.
Living up to get bin bags? We've got some.
Well, I better take the dog out.
We don't have a dog.
Okay. The Double Big Mac is back at McDonald's.
Right, get the keys.
The Double Big Mac is here for a limited time. Don't miss it. Served after 11 a.m, subject to availability at participating restaurants until the 15th of March.
The highway code has changed to help protect people walking, cycling or horse riding. However you travel, you have a responsibility to help keep those more at risk on the road safe. We've updated the rules.
In 2 miles, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
Cross or cycling straight ahead have priority at junctions. These are just some of the changes we all need to make now. Check the changes. Let's keep each other safe. Visit gov.uk/DFT/highway code changes to find out more. Changes to the highway code apply to Great Britain only.
Think you could pick a horse to finish in the top 3, 4, or even 5? How about 6 or 7 races in a row? Play Coddle's Racing Super Series, our free-to-play horse racing game where you could win a share of this week's guaranteed prize pot worth £25,000. Racing Super Series from Coddle.
18 plus online and mobile, 1 entry per customer per game. Correctly select a horse to place in each of the selected races to win a share of the cash prize pool. Entries after start time of first race will not be eligible. Full T's and C's at coral.co.uk. When the fun stops, stop.
That's the soothing sound of a barbershop quartet that have found the better way to buy a quality car from Kazoo. All Kazoo cars pass a thorough 300-point inspection, come with a 90-day warranty, roadside assistance and a 7-day money-back guarantee. That's 1 whole week to make sure they love it. Can you buy a quality car that's guaranteed to leave you happy? Kazoo, yeah you can.
It feels so good knowing PensionBee combined your old pensions into a simple online plan. PensionBee. Be pension confident.
Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Capital at risk.
At Lidl, we're always Lidl on price. And with Pick of the Week, we cut our prices even lower. With 6 great deals on fresh fruits and vegetables and a pick of meat and fish. And they're different every Thursday, so you can mix it up in the kitchen while saving on the shop. Save up to 30% on award-winning produce with Pick of the Week. Now that's big on quality. And always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, select stores exclude tonight.
A few too many. Lots of us are feeling it. Those extra pounds adding extra strain to our bodies. Now's the time to get things started. One way or another. To shop smarter, eat.
In a quarter of a mile, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central. Exit at junction 6. In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the 3rd exit onto Tons Lane, A355.
mental health, going down the time list. And
Exit the roundabout onto Tuns Lane. In a quarter of a mile, slight left towards Sippenham Lane.
And she only discovered it when, I'd say that's 3 years ago, when she realised that there was literally nothing in the bank account. She's a primary school teacher, and she went to a bank account and there was nothing there. Her husband, who she completely trusted, he runs a really good company. You know, so he's a functional he's functional with everything that he's doing. It's just that whenever he comes home, she can tell. But what's destroying her is that every time he comes home,
Slight left towards Sippenham Lane.
As you say that to me, what really comes across as you're saying that is the breach of trust. We all know in a marriage you can have disagreements, disagreements about the kids, disagreements about X, Y, Z, but the breach of trust thing.
Continue for 1.5 miles.
In the context of a partner being unfaithful or something, I hadn't really ever thought about the fact that gambling, you go to the bank account, all the money's gone. It's like a breach of trust, isn't it?
She's got 2 small, as I say, and she doesn't get much money really as a teacher. So she's now what she said to me, but it took her a long time to tell her mum. But she has now finally told me that all she does is cry herself to sleep all the time. She gets up for work through the pandemic, and she just but when she doesn't come home, she just doesn't know what to do.
What are you gonna do? How are you gonna help? What's she gonna do?
I don't know what to do because I'm a mother and I don't know what to do. So this is the knock-on effect of it. But neither me or my daughter want to judge.
No, it's an addiction.
Really
Geraldine, I'm just going to give you the number again and make sure the producer gives it to you, because you give them a ring, and I hope they can support you at least with what you should do and what she should do. But the number is 0808 8020 133, and that's the number for the National Gambling Helpline, which is 24 hours a day. So you can put down the phone to me and pick up the phone to them. But he clearly needs help. The question is how you get him to face that he needs help. And like any addiction, and I've had in my own family alcohol addiction. It's hard because the person has got to confront that they have a problem, and you can't take a horse to water, as it were. The horse has got to want the water. So I totally get that, Geraldine. Best of luck to you, but do stay on the line. Take that number, and hopefully you can turn things around. Ashley and Kent. Ashley.
Good evening. My experience with gambling, I suppose it's taken a full circle. So I've gone through the worst of it, and I've come out on the better end of it. My gambling started at 18 years old. A lot of my friends gambled, wanting to do so. I've never really been a part of gambling or had it, sort of done in my household. So it was a new thing to me. And I think the worst thing that happened out of that was that I won. And not only did I win, I won a lot of money at the time. We put some money on some horses and walked out of the bookies at 18 years old, £5,000 rich. What made it worse, they gave me cash today. So sort of, we've got children now. So we had children, we've got children. And my gambling didn't stop. It got worse. So, at its worst, I was spending my salary. I was working 40 hours at the time, and I was spending my salary on gambling down to the last, 20, 30 pence on gambling, gambling at various different hours of the night online, from shops to online, and spending my money, which then took a knock-on effect because, bills wasn't getting paid. My wife was on maternity leave, the rent wasn't being paid, they were hounding us for rent, bills wasn't being paid, my car ended up being repossessed because that wasn't paid, we had various bailiffs at the door, and over all of this, the only thing I could